You know, I think everybody has things in their life that they look back on and I say, I wish that had never happened. I mean this YouTube channel of mine is doing pretty well, but before we started this one, I mean there were times that I had tried things on YouTube that didn't really go real well.
Hey guys, today we're going to teach you how to raise chicken. It's going to be a lot of fun. What's up, Christian fam? Today I'm going to show you how to do a kickflip for Christ on a skateboard. All you do is you take your skateboard and you just set it on the ground just like so.
But I mean, I guess everybody's got those things that, like that didn't work out at all. I mean, that was a total disaster. But like, imagine everything in your life when you get into eternity was completely wrong. And in the end of the road, the world said you had a lot, but God said you had very little. One of those guys is Mike Tyson. And I've always been fascinated with this guy because he was like as a kid growing up, this was Mike Tyson. Like, this was the scariest guy who ever lived. And he came from nothing. He was just basically like some kid in the streets. And then some boxing coach took him in and he made millions of dollars. And really he's almost strange because he's the biggest success story you could ever ask for, but he's also like the most tragic story you could ever ask for too. I mean, this guy is like both. It's really weird. Mike Tyson has been in his latter years, he's become kind of like a very reflective, almost an artistic mindset in some of the things that he said. Now, one thing that he said recently about his life and the things that he had, the things that he said that he accomplished in the sports world, he said they were garbage. Let me show you this video. It's very fascinating what he said. Watch this.
Stuff. This is history here. You're history.
This is garbage. I can say, hey, I bled for garbage.
So this is meaningless.
No, at one time it meant a lot. When you're just a young kid, this is everything to you. But then you realize your priorities change. And you just want your children to be happy and do nice things, and that makes you happy. This is nothing. This is just nothing, man.
And so you see that and you say, Mike Tyson's holding all these heavyweight belts that he won, like the #1 boxer in the world. I believe he was #1 pound for pound heavyweight, which is very rare. He said, this is garbage. This is garbage. These things that I bled and fought for are nothing. Can you imagine that? Now imagine living your life and you live for cars, you live for fame, you live for money, you live for all the things that the world had to offer, and then you died and God looked at you and says everything you had was garbage. Garbage. There was a missionary years ago named C.T. Studd, and he wrote a poem that has really just absolutely changed my life. And it's called Only One Life, and it says, 2 little lines I heard one day, traveling along life's busy way, bringing conviction to my heart, and from my mind would not depart. Only one life, 'twill soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. Only one life, yes, only one, soon will its fleeting hours be done. Then in that day my Lord to meet, and stand before his judgment seat. Only one life, 'twill soon be past. Only one life, the still small voice gently pleads for a better choice, bidding me selfish aims to leave, and to God's holy will to cleave. Only one life, 'twill soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. And the last verse says this, it's very interesting. It says, only one life, yes, only one. Now let me say thy will be done. And when at last I'll hear the call, I'll know, I'll say 'twas worth it all. Only one life, 'twill soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. And I think about that and I wonder and contemplate my life and I think, what kind of stuff in my life do I have that in eternity will be meaningless? And I guess really there's nothing wrong with like having a lot of money as long as you got it by some way where you like contributed something meaningful to society.
Is math related to science?
And your favorite dish?
My favorite dish? I like mugs because they're very comfortable in your hand and they hold hot things that you don't have to touch.
I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help.
What in the world is that? You learn a lot. This whole go to school and make good grades so you can make a lot of money is a lie. Now, 1 Corinthians chapter 3 talks about the judgment seat of Christ that every saved person will go to, not to be tried for their sins or judged for their sins, but judged for their works in accordance to a reward. And this is not the same thing as the Great White Throne Judgment. The Great White Throne Judgment, all their sins of sinners are read out and they're thrown in the lake of fire. But this is where the Christian goes to have the determination of his reward in the millennial kingdom given to him. Now, verse number 11, 1 Corinthians 3, for other foundation can no man lay than that which is laid, which is Christ Jesus. Now, if any man build upon his foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because they shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. It doesn't say size, it says sort. And then it says, if any man's work abide which he hath built thereon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. And so that's talking about the reward that every Christian will receive at the judgment seat of Christ about their works that they've done in this life. Now, I want to tell you today that there's a lot of people out there that are living for things that have no eternal value. So if you want to go to the judgment seat of Christ and have a great reward, then you need to invest in things that last forever. There's been a lot of passing fads through the years, and one of the great regrets I have in life is I really wish I had not invested so heavily in Beanie Babies. That Princess Diana thing was a lie. Because right now they're worthless. Nobody's buying these things because nobody... But if you want to have something that's valuable, a reward at the judgment seat of Christ, you need to invest in things that matter, like souls. I read a fascinating account not too long ago of a man who was living in Indonesia as a missionary, and the Lucas Oil Company wanted to come in there and set up some operation, and they said, well, we need a local guy who can help us and kind of manage people and that kind of stuff, who can help us get this operation off the ground. And so they wrote this letter to this one missionary guy that they had heard he was a good guy of character, reputation, and they offered him a great, nice, generous salary, wrote him back saying, thank you very much, but I just can't take the job. Well, they said, okay, well, let's double his salary. They wrote him a letter again saying, we'll double the salary that we initially offered. He wrote back graciously and kindly saying, no, I just can't accept the job. Well, they were just blown away. They said, we've offered this man a lot of money, and he's saying no. What's the guy's deal? So they wrote him a letter, and they said, we've never done this before, but we're going to let you name your price. You tell us what it would cost for you to run the Lucas Oil Company there in Indonesia and be the guy that sets up the thing and gets it all going, and you name your price. And the missionary wrote back and says, no, I appreciate the offer. You've been very generous, but I just can't take the offer. Well, they wrote him back another letter and says, what is it? What is wrong? Why can't we get you to do this? Is the salary too small? And the missionary wrote back and says, no, the salary, it's not too small. It's the job that's too small. And I think so many times we are busy chasing things of the world that are nothing more than a mere shadow and an illusion, and things that don't have any eternal value.
This is garbage. I can say, hey, I bled for garbage.
D.L. Moody was a great preacher of yesteryear, and man, I'm telling you, this man had God's power in his life, saw a lot of people saved, and was just a tremendous man of God, what he was. And so his life verse was 1 John 2:15, and it says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Verse 16, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. Verse 17 says this was his life's verse right here. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of God abideth forever. Sometimes when I speak on this subject, I speak to teenagers, I say three things about the will of God. I say that the will of God is fun. I have never been bored serving Jesus. Well, no, hang on. There was that one time we drove through Kansas.
Looking for a city where I'll never die.
But even still, that was a pretty good time. And so the will of God is fun. The will of God is also very fulfilling. You can enjoy your life and feel like you're doing something that's meaningful, because you are when you're doing the will of God. And number 3, the will of God, not only is it fun, fulfilling, but the will of God is forever. It's something that no man can take it away from you. If you've done the will of God, man, they can take your money, they can take your health, they can take your freedom, but they can't take the fact that you did the perfect will of God with your life. And there's a reward day coming. But the thing is, you have to invest your life, your time, talent, and treasures in things that actually matter, things that are actually meaningful in the scope of eternity. Guys, Mike Tyson spent his life, his days, his sweat, his blood, his tears, fighting for belts that didn't mean anything. He himself said it was worthless garbage.
This stuff. This is history here. You're history.
This is garbage. I can say, hey, I bled for garbage.
So this is meaningless.
No, at one time it meant a lot. When you're just a young kid, this is everything to you. But then you realize your priorities change. And you just want your children to be happy and do nice things, and that makes you happy. This is nothing. This is just nothing, man.
And so the theology of Mike Tyson, what is it? Well, it's don't waste your life on things that don't matter. Let's say 100 million years from now, is that car in your driveway going to be meaningful to you? Are all the accolades of the world going to mean anything to you? Probably not. Why? Because that kind of stuff, like the Bible says, it passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of God abideth forever. Friend, today, forsake the world, forsake the ways of the world, start doing the will of God, because in the end, that's all that matters. Did you find and do the will of God? Hope this video is a blessing to you. Consider subscribing to our channel. Consider becoming a channel member and being a part of our great community here on YouTube. We love you guys. Thank you very much. God bless you. And another thing about Mike Tyson we can learn is, like, don't bite people, because that's not good either. That's all. That's the video. Don't do it.